Now to the potentially deadly measles outbreak in Washington state. Health officials say another person has the virus, making them the 36th counted among the confirmed cases. Another 11 people are thought to have the highly contagious disease. And you can see most of the sick people coming from Clark County here, right at the state's southern border. Many doctors are not that surprised at how this outbreak is playing out in Washington, considering that in 2015, Oregon and Washington legislatures considered measures that measles would make it harder for people to opt out of getting vaccinated. Against that, both measures failed after lobbying by anti-vaccine groups. So let's get down to it, how contagious this is. Dr. Jennifer Caudle joins me on The Story. And doctor, it is so contagious that, let's say you are in a room, you leave the room, I go in the room, in the air, I can still contract the measles.
That's exactly right. Measles is one of the most contagious viruses that we have. We know that if you're unvaccinated, you have a 90% chance of getting it just by being around someone who already has it. And you're right, those virus particles stay in the air. They can stay in the air for up to 2 hours after someone who's had it has left, still making it possibly to infect others. This is very, very highly contagious. It's one of the reasons why we're seeing the outbreaks.
And do you think younger generations are more susceptible because of their immune system, or because the older you are, the more likely it is that you have been vaccinated against it? Because as we're talking, just heartbreaking looking at these little babies who have measles.
You know, let me just say this. It is heartbreaking. And you're asking basically, why are we seeing this? First of all, we have to remember that in the 1960s, before we had a vaccine, 3 to 4 million people were infected with measles every year. 400 to 500 people actually died from measles. Since the vaccine, things have gotten better. But in the last few years, we've seen resurgences of measles outbreaks. Some of this is due to travel, international travel, people traveling over to other countries, coming back, either bringing it with them or traveling with it. And then once it gets into this country, we've got pockets of unvaccinated people. And then the virus can spread like wildfire. You know, I'm gonna put it out there as a family doctor. I say vaccines and getting vaccinated really is at the heart of this matter.
Yeah, we have talked about this, you and I, and just how in the year 2000 it was essentially eliminated, the measles.
Yes,
and now I'm wondering, are we going to see diseases that we think are eliminated? Could polio come back and other diseases because people are fearful? Is that what you see in your experience, doctor? That people are afraid, maybe because of false studies they see?
Yes, that's exactly right. And Susan, I'm so glad you said that. I just posted that I was coming on air to talk about this maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. I can't tell you in those few minutes how many comments I've had from parents saying, there's no way I'm getting my child vaccinated. Never, vaccines are bad. Let me set the record straight. Oh, yeah. Oh, when I talk about vaccines on air, which I do all the time, it's so important to me, I get the most comments. And there are so many people who are either afraid or feel that vaccines are bad or wrong. Let me set the record straight. Vaccines do not cause autism. Vaccines are very safe and effective, and they save lives. And I think a lot of people forget that people can die from measles. Out of every 1,000 children who gets the measles, 1 or 2 will actually die. We forget that. So honestly, what I say to parents and caregivers out there, if you are concerned about the vaccine, before you decide not to give your children or get vaccines yourself, please talk to your healthcare provider. I mean, this is it's a life or death matter in many cases.
Good advice. And also, other children and adults are susceptible if your child is not vaccinated too. Dr. Jennifer Caudle, thank you. Always a pleasure.